Hi, I'm Liam, and for over a decade now, I've been building commercial Laravel applications, and that's a lot of time to pick up little tips and tricks and things in your head that you might not think about, but are really, really good to apply to any Laravel application. And when I build new applications now, I typically go and apply each of these steps to get a better starting point. Even when I'm going through legacy applications and trying to upgrade them, I'll usually go through a lot of these steps as well to make sure everything's kind of on the same page and coherent and solves a lot of issues that we might see. And these kind of tips and tricks are what I want to share with you in the series. We're going to be going over in each lesson one or two of these tricks to make sure that we fully understand exactly what we're doing and why these things can help us building our applications. And throughout this, we're going to be adding each of these to a fresh Laravel application, which we could use as a starter kit potentially. So don't worry about remembering all of the code. Just remember about why we're doing the things. You can always go and check the starter kit repository in order to go and look at the code and figure out what exactly you need to add to your own application. So to start off, let's get a fresh Laravel application set up. And this is where the first trick is going to come in. I'm going to come over to my terminal. And if you're building a new Laravel application, you probably want to start by making sure you have the Laravel installer available globally. But if you've done this like a few years ago, maybe, you might have an old version of the Laravel installer. So you want to make sure you're updating the installer and that you've got the latest version. Because the last thing you want to do is be building a new application and have it on one or two major versions behind Laravel. And by the time you realize, you've got to go and do a whole upgrade process on that. You want to give yourself the easiest time as soon as you get started. So make sure you've got the newest version. Now I'm going to go into my projects directory and I'm going to say Laravel new smarter kit, which is the name of the starter kit that we're going to be building. And this could be whatever you want, but for most of my applications, I'm using Livewire. So I'm going to pick Livewire. I'm going to use Laravel's built-in authentication. We can use Vault. We can use Pest. It's going to go through and install all of this for us. Now that it's installed most of the things, we're going to run npm install and run build as well to get our assets working locally. And now it's done. So what I'm going to do is cd into that directory. And I'm going to come over to GitHub now. And I'm going to create a new repository. I'm going to call it SmarterKit. I'm going to make sure that it's public, that it's not using a template, that it's not going to have any files generated inside it, because the Laravel repo we just made is going to have all of those files. And now I can copy these steps to push an existing repository from the command line. And if I look here, this doesn't have a repository already. So I'm using VS Code. This is the source control window, but there is no repository already here. So what I'm going to do initially is type git init to initialize a commit. Then I'm going to add everything. And then I'm going to commit with a message of initial commit. And this way, before I've written any code, all of Laravel starter stuff is in here. So any commits that I add on top of this, I can go back and track through the Git history to see exactly what I've done and where Laravel's starter stops and where my application begins. So now that I've done that, I can come over here, I can copy these steps, and I can run those. It's going to add the repository as a remote. It's going to push it up. If I come back to GitHub and refresh, we now have that Laravel application there. So this is a starting point. And in the next lesson, we're going to start to get into some of the tips.